All right, well, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us on Your World. My name is Zainab Ismail, and of course today we'll be touching pulse on where we are on the tourism sector here in the country. And of course, joining me in studio is Bwana John Chirchir, who's the acting CEO of Kenya Tourism Board. A very good morning to see, and very good to see you as well. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, Zainab.
Indeed.
Happy to be here.
Happy to see you as well. I hope the cold did not get to you when you were coming to the studios. But when we're talking about the tourism industry, it's really large scale. It's a holistic thing that we have to look at. And going by, first of all, the data that was released by the Kenya Tourism Board in August of this year, it does indicate that Kenya rose 31%. That's the tourism earnings, yeah, by 31% in the first 6 months to June, compared to a similar period last year, as the sector benefited from the ongoing global recovery. But certainly, the tourism industry has taken a beating, first of all, from the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yes.
So we were still, we would say we were in a recovery path.
Yes.
And then we still have, insecurity issues in some parts of the country. For example, Lamu, which heavily relies on tourism as well. But from your standpoint, how are we faring on? Where are we?
Thank you so much, Zainab. From my standpoint, I will say that Kenya has really been resilient in terms of overcoming the effects of COVID-19. We almost went to zero, and then we've now recovered, and we are at about 93%, latest statistics at the end of September. So that is very positive, and it points to the picture that there's something really that connects with international tourism arrivals coming into Kenya in terms of the product, experiences, and matching. So the industry, yes, has taken a beating after COVID-19, but we are happy that this is taking a turn. We continue to see quite a number of things that signals return to tourism. But on the backside of that, we also have a very vibrant domestic travel, a culture that has picked up both for individuals or families and also for corporates that have sustained the sector throughout COVID-19. But now, as international markets have opened up, the international arrival has really grown. Being at 93 is no small feat. And we are saying that the industry has also been able to resonate with the modern traveler post-COVID-19 on the things they like, on the things that they connect with, especially on issues of conservation, sustainability. So we say, yes, we are in a good recovery path. And at the end of the year, we expect to have gone back to the 2 million or 2 million plus arrivals globe in terms of international arrival. So that's a good space to be in for the sector. Yes.
So even apart from that, I mean, you talk about domestic, travels that have created a much better environment for tourism.
Yes.
What other factors have really contributed to at least sort of helping us recover from some of these things that really hit us hard?
One is just because I will not be able to preempt the fact that Kenya, the connection that it has with the international traveler, those tourists who have come in the past and visited Kenya and really had a nice experience. We also have a supportive travel trade partners out of the country in terms of travel agents, tour operators who have really sold and marketed us. But even things that have happened after COVID-19 have really spoke to why the sector is growing up, really growing in terms of numbers. Recently, the King of England, the King Charles III, chose actually Kenya as a first point of contact and visit outside Europe and within Commonwealth countries, not even within the realms. So that spoke a lot to the fact that, yes, Kenya has something. We've had, in terms of MICE, huge conferences like the Africa Climate Summit, which really repositioned Nairobi and Kenya as a destination of choice for MICE. So, and looking also at sport, quite a number of sporting activities, marathon, Kipchoge Kano Classic.
And we'll come back to that. I mean,
Yes.
sports tourism
Yes.
is another really
Yes.
big area we sort of have to kind of
Yes.
really look at. But yeah, I was
Yes.
going back to the issue of, you know, the British monarch who's here in the country.
Yes.
Some say that that would have a positive implication in terms of our tourism
Yes.
sector. But would it be too early to assess how that would, you know, look like?
Zainab, you're right. It will be too early. But what we'll be able to say is that his visit to Kenya spoke volumes in terms of the places he visited or the activities he engaged in. One, he visited the Nairobi National Parks, the only national park in the world that is within a city proximity, that is highly built for modern city, yet it is really conserved also to provide a of wild animals in a natural cage together with Queen Camilla, and feed them and see them and even hear the stories about conservation in Kenya, which really resonated with him and the things that he is passionate about.
So first of all, the optics of it makes a huge significance.
The optics of it and the things he's involved in.
All right.
So it communicates at a scale that we may not be able to have in a long time,
Right.
of what Kenya has. And he sort of picked up and highlighted, yes, Kenya is at the forefront, cutting edge in terms of conservation, preservation, involving communities, because you are using all these within community settings, but they speak to conservation. He met the youth and picking up plastics and things that are spoiling our seas.
All right.
I think it's called Ocean Tide or something. And he met them and discussed what is happening there. So we can say that his visit resonated with tourism in a way that connects with the modern traveler. Somebody who is looking to have a minimal footprint in their travel. Travelers who is going to connect with the community and speak to the conservation that his visit to Kenya or any other part of the world will have reverberating effects long after he's gone. Right now we're talking about planting trees, doing away with single-use plastics in national parks, protected areas, even in our restaurants. So it speaks to really the tourism as a leader in conservation and really putting all activities that Kenya presents to this modern traveler and even to the king himself, that if he comes back, he will be happy. And that for our children and children of our children, we'll be able to bequeath them a heritage that is strong, that stands, and a tourism experience that is really not only modern, but also is preserved in old age. The way it was 100 years or 200 years is the way it will be 1,000 years from today.
Wow, so that's how we're looking at things right now, the
Yes.
modern traveler, you know. And you speak of conservation. I know KTB is trying sort of leveraging on this as well. If we can just have a look at some of the things that they are doing and really what impact it is going to have on the tourism sector, we'll come back.
Okay.
In Kenya, beauty is everywhere. Etched in our golden sunsets, gently kissing the horizon. Dancing along our beaches and thriving in the heart of our vibrant cultures. Welcome to magical Kenya. It takes a lot to protect this paradise. This ecosystem is a treasure, irreplaceable and fragile. The heartbeat of our land is sustained by those who believe in its enduring magic.
It is time for humanity to step up and live up to its most basic mandate, to protect life on Earth, the integrity of our planet's vital systems, and make the world more, not less, livable.
In the face of the world's biodiversity crisis, Kenya leads the way. We harness the power of the sun, the wind, water, and the earth itself to guide us towards a sustainable future.
Under the United Nations Climate Convention, we have committed to restore and conserve all forests and to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The objective is to grow 5 billion trees in the next 5 years and an additional 10 billion trees by 2032.
Kenya is unwavering in its pursuit of conservation and has welcomed the use of electric vehicles in the parks. We invest in the very essence of our nation. For over a century, we have safeguarded Kenya's rich biodiversity. We have set aside national parks, national reserves, 53 sanctuaries, and 160 conservancies. Through meticulous research and dedication, the Kenya Wildlife Service ensures the survival of our precious wildlife. The Tembo Naming Festival offers an opportunity to raise funds and support conservation efforts, securing a future for elephants. It's about expanding their habitats, securing connectivity in critical habitats, empowering communities, and fostering harmony.
Because of community contributing into conservation, we have seen minimal human-wildlife conflict.
Wakati tulipokuwa hatuna maji, tulikuwa tunaenda mbali sana kuleta maji. Tulipopata hii maji saa hii, sasa tumepata nafasi ya kupumzika, tumepata nafasi ya kuchona. Hii kazi ya ushanga inatusaidia kusomesha watoto.
These moves inspire the diversification of tourism products, supporting women and youth to benefit from tourism through the Ushanga project. Marine life is just as important as life on land. Turtle conservation in Watamu and Diani, along with the preservation of the Kisite Mpunguti Marine Park, ensures the well-being of this life. Through the ban on single-use plastics, the implementation of plastic-free parks, and bins in tour vans and cars, Kenya leads the way, ensuring responsible practice by tour operators. Our conservation areas remain clean. This work on this magnificent lands isn't just for Kenya, it's for all of humanity. Eco Warrior Awards, Eco Rating Schemes, and Travel Life Certification have sparked a green revolution. Kenya now boasts of over 40 gold eco-rated accommodation facilities. Ecotourism is thriving. With every breath, every man, and every action, Kenya continues to save the future through conservation and sustainable tourism. We are living in the future.
You have entered the future. A future ripe with potential, driven by global partnerships committed to African prosperity, inclusive growth, and a livable planet for all of us.
All right, and that's just part of what KTB is working on in terms of trying to leverage on the conservation aspect and really trying to see how we can be able to make our tourism sector really thrive even better. But yeah, sustainable and sustainability and conservation at the forefront of the tourism sector here in the country is what you are now looking at in terms of what we need to see in the future.
Yes, and the short video that we've just watched speaks volume in terms of where Kenya is at. This is a video that was submitted for competition in terms of what destinations and countries are doing to be at the forefront of conservation, sustainability, and ecotourism.
Right.
And I'm very happy to say that the United World Tourism Organization, which is the authority body in tourism,
Right.
did give Kenya the first place.
Wow.
And you can see the tone is set from the top. His Excellency the President is leading this conversation. And Africa is leading this conversation. So I can say that His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, through demonstrated activities and consistency of his messages and activities, have spoken to why Kenya is recognized as the real destination where conservation, ecotourism, and accessibility activities are happening within the nation. We've seen in terms of, somebody told me that what I really asked, what is sustainability? And the easiest answer I was told is the planet should not complain, The people or the community should not complain, and the businesses should not complain. That means the business should be able to make profit within an environment that is sustainable. It will be there tomorrow. And also the planet is happy that we are taking care of it. So if we look at energy sources, for example, most of the tour facilities in Kenya are moving away from biomass to solar energy, to wind energy. And like the Ministry of Environment will tell us, I think about over 98% of Kenya's energy is renewable. So that is really good in terms of where we are starting at. And going forward, we are taking these to businesses, even in remote areas, in cities, so that there is that change. Kenya is a signatory to the Glasgow Treaty, where we are looking at, by year 2030, having carbon emission by 50%, and really going net zero by year 2050. So these are efforts that tourism is taking leadership.
So sort of the tourism sector aligning itself to the global, wider, you know, climate issue, of course, that because look,
Yes.
we already know that we're not in a very good place, but then
Yes.
Kenya also has a responsibility in ensuring that you know, carbon footprint is also curbed. So this is what the tourism sector intends to do.
This is what the tourism sector globally intends to do. This is, it will go to conservation areas like national park, game reserves, conservancies. And we have actually best case studies here in Kenya. There's a corridor called Kisagau. And here we have community planting trees, and the trees have been protected. There are wildlife area.
That's in Taita Taveta?
In Taita Taveta. Wildlife is thriving there as they move between Savo East and Savo West in that ecosystem. So, and this is bringing money to the community because of now the carbon credit. Countries that are polluting the environment and they don't have such place to replace the carbon sinking, to take it from the atmosphere, put it in trees, now have to pay because of the pollution they are making. And this is a new sector, an opportunity for Kenya to venture it in a big way. And I believe communities like those of Kisagau will thrive across Kenya because we are now looking at planting 15 billion trees, not only by Kenyans, but also by tourists who are visiting Kenya. Like I said, they want to make a positive impact and go back feeling that their travel to Kenya had sustainable impact beyond their lifetime. So that speaks to where we are at. And that's just trees, wetlands, conservation areas, because we want to do away with these cycles of drought and floods, extreme climate situation that really impact on tourism, given that one of the pillars is wildlife. Nature, forests, and we don't want them to be sort of degraded. So any areas that can now be reworked and redone to go back to where it used to be, or the pristine nature it should be, especially for wetlands and forests, this is an opportunity now for everybody to really muscle in and give their best. So tourism is at that place, in that position. There is actually an association called Ecotourism Society of Kenya.
All right.
And they have been very vocal in this. They are actually giving certification for best practice, educating the private sector in terms of running the operation. However small, however big, they come in and they look at water, energy, use of resources, involvement of community, so that the people, planet, and profits for the investor or the entrepreneur are all taken care of. And boxes are checked, and not checked because of greenwashing, but because it's really intentional, and it will have value and impact, not only for the consumer, but for the business, for the community as well. So putting all this together, I will authoritatively say Kenya is at the forefront. If you look at our national park reserves, they occupy a huge percentage of Kenya, really big. Our cities are now growing, and we have demands on natural resources, some of which are non-renewable, some are renewable. But where we can be able to go to a place where it is a circular economy or renewable in nature, we venture into that. Where it is not possible, we see how to minimize. So for example, most hotels and lodges have gone away from single-use plastic, really. and that is really commendable. You will find.
Do we have like data on that? Have we been able to sort of assess how the single-use plastic is being used across, hotels in the country?
We don't have data on that, but feelers are. If you go to any conference, for example, or if you go on holiday, most likely you will not be given water in a in a bottle in many of the occasions. But most of the time there will be a dispenser, or there will be in your room, there will be a sort of a container where you can be able to, a jar of sort. In some areas, yes, you'll still find plastics, but those plastic have a commitment that they are going to be disposed well for reuse. And you've seen entrepreneurs coming up and building posts or making houses out of plastic and making real use of these materials that would have gone to pollute the environment. For example, if it is city and it rains, you find blockages in the canal system that really put the water away out of the city.
Right.
So that has reduced over the years. It's not out yet, because there are other things that do clog the system. But in terms of Kenya, I would say we've did really progress well. So I'll say the feedback, I don't have the data, but largely, yes, it's been appreciated.
And partnering with the private sector, is it something that, you are looking at? Because I understand, first of all, we're targeting 5.5 million tourist arrivals in the next 5 years. This is according to your 5-year strategic plan. First of all, how is this going to contribute to the economy, and how are you partnering with the private sector to ensure this is, realized?
Yes, Zainab, that's a very important point that you've touched. It is really the essence of the next 5 years or 4 years on what you're going to do. Kenya Tourism Board facilitates our private sector to do business and to do it to make huge profit, but also be sustainable. So the 5.5 arrival figure that you're looking at is international. But besides that, also we are looking at a real growth within domestic. So in the international fronts, we are going to have collaboration that are really effective with our partners. First, in terms of domestic, our operators here, hoteliers, tour operators, airline, all these, if you look at the government manifesto, it speaks of an ecosystem that supports independent and youth travel. It's looking up at bottom up in terms of touching people's life, employment, earnings, investments, and tourism really as an economic sector, which was top in terms of how it touches on all across other sectors and sort of spurs growth, comes in really at the top in touching people's lives. We've seen opportunities at national level as well as county level. Our product, tourism product, has been in quite a long time, has been sort of consumed in few places. Some people call it the triangle. So what the counties have come up, urbanization has picked, there is investments of infrastructure, like road, airports, internet, super highway, innovations like for banking in terms of payment, and new way of really creating and consuming content. So this has given a great ground sort of to develop tourism across Kenya.
Right.
So the manifesto simply looks at Kenya as a tourism destination, not the triangle. So every county has something to offer.
Right.
We are led by the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife. There is mapping out in collaboration with counties on what we are calling hidden gems. There are tourism opportunities, tourism attractions, or tourism experiences that are hidden somewhere.
But we've seen sometimes some of these tourism attraction sites, these hidden gems, have been sort of neglected, really. Who then should be responsible in ensuring that, first of all, they're well represented, they're well taken care of, and, even just packaging this as a brand itself works for the tourism sector?
I wouldn't say there is any one person who should take it up. It's collaborative, because for government, we come in, the ministry provides the facilitation for it to be developed, the guidelines on how it's going to be developed and certified, and licensing to be given. The private sector, the investors will come in and put money when they believe that they'll make money out of it and a profit at that. And the subsequent is really the community who are able to support it and provide the human resource to make sure that it is there is service provided around it. So it's sort of a collaborative way of bringing it up. So the hidden gems may be missing one or two elements in that, yes, for example, where I come from, there's a cave, there's a waterfall, there's a good forest where somebody can go actually hiking, or even a cross country can be done around there. But we need somebody now to come and map it out and develop a route. So that has not been done. So the potential is there. It is a hidden gem because it has not been developed, and now it cannot be marketed to tourism because somebody cannot pay for it. But if we get the local investors, the counties to facilitate infrastructure around it, and now for somebody to come and run it as an enterprise, that's when they come to light. Kenya Tourism Board has so far worked with about 20 counties so far in engaging them and try to bring, in a collaborative way, discuss what is your county's strength in terms of hidden gems and how can they be brought to life. Who is needed? So that conversation is alive and it's continuing, and we're going to across the 47 counties. For some of the counties, actually, even as we speak, about 15 countries, we have approached the county governments to collaborate with them, where we felt that it's beyond the hidden gem, but there is a product that needs to be brought out to light. We're going to develop content around it and showcase. For example, if it is Machakos, what is in Machakos? What can you consume within 1 hour, within a day? Or if you are going to stay, you have sort of all the information you need for you to now discover areas that were hidden. So we are bringing them to light, we're putting on the hill and shining on the light. It will be digital, so in terms of search, you can be able to access. We're working with counties also to develop information counters. And we'll come back to that, the information counters. We have to take a quick break. Oh, information centers? Yes. All right. We'll come back to that in a moment. Let's take a very quick break here on Your World. And you can continue engaging with us on our social media platforms at NTV Kenya. You can also tweet me at Zainab Ismail. The hashtag is Your World NTV. Stay with us.
In this week's edition, we speak about investment in agriculture.
Agriculture in Africa today is faced with a lot of challenges. Get access to improved seed varieties, and that means investing a bit more in R&D, research and development.
Investment in agriculture in Sub-Saharan Africa delivers more than twice the return than investment in another sector.
Growth in agriculture is far more poverty reducing than growth in other sectors. It doesn't only raise the incomes of the poor in rural areas, it actually also benefits people in cities and towns because it makes food more affordable.
Patata.
Jina lako nani?
Naitwa Emboko.
Wewe weka pesa zako wapi?
Tutoke hapa.
Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation lina jukumu la kulinda pesa zako kwenye benki.
All right, and welcome back to the program. You're watching Your World as we take a pulse check of the tourism sector here in the country. And I'm not alone in studio. I'm with John Chirichiri, who's the acting CEO of the Kenya Tourism Board. But there's also something very important I think we've not touched on, which is the issue of sports tourism. But you know, according to the annual tourism sector performance report of last year, as I was looking at it, first of all, local tourism is on the rise, although the sector remains attractive to international tourists. We'll come back to that. Now, for example, sports tourism, we are known as what? Athletic is the home of athletic champions, right? Yes. But there seems to be some sort of a disconnect, a gap. I've seen people saying that we're not leveraging enough on the fact that we have legends like Faith Kipyegon and, you know, Eliud Kipchoge here in the country, and they're representing us outside there. We should be able to sort of harness that and boost our own tourism. But are we doing that? Is there a missing link there?
Thank you. If you look at Kenya Kwanza Manifesto, actually tourism sector and sports sector are sort of joined in the hip. Because they involve people moving, people going to places, having activities. So athletics being one of them, for which we are known at. And we really want to thank all our athletes for putting Kenya on the map. And this is really very important for the nation. You give us pride when we see you going to the top, being awarded a gold medal, and you raising your hand as you cross the finish line. And that is victory for all Kenyans. That is victory for yourselves. So we share in that pride and joy. But back to your question. Yes, we have legends, and not one, not two, many.
Yeah.
We have counties that reference themselves as city of champions.
Correct.
And we have, it's almost a pilgrimage to go and see where these people lived,
right,
where they grew, where they trained. On Netflix, there is a documentary about one of the famous athletes, and that is Eliud Kipchoge, on where he does his training, how he grew up, his background, and all this. So this is really fascinating for any person who has interest in sports. And what more than to come to Kenya and see where they train? You're talking about Olympics 2024 in Paris, and all the conversation is now alive. We have reached out and we're in communication with Athletics Kenya and National Olympic Committee, not only to leverage on Olympics in terms of the prowess of Kenyans, for which we expect them to do very well, and with our blessings we send them to go and represent our nation, but also we have those who you've called legends that may have retired. Yes, there are those who are willing to run with tourists to provide an experience. There are two operators, some of them we met from China, who want to bring groups and they just have a day of running with these champions,
right,
or see where they run, and not staying one day, but about 2 days. So this is picking up. They have taken it up. But more than that, in terms of really running with the champions or running where the champions run, we are inviting also those who are preparing for athletics at the Olympic to come and train here in Kenya. We have the best climate, high altitude training camp, best coaches, and really the best people who are hospitable. So we do welcome them. We did meet with the Olympic Organizing Committee across Africa in Mombasa recently. And they were wowed in terms of tourism experiences and products that we have in Kenya. And this is where they can do the preparation or come and celebrate once any African Olympiad or even International Olympiad wins. We invite them here as home to come and celebrate it. But more important is the opportunity that lies between tourism and sport. That collaboration is powerful. We are involved in preparation of some of the sporting activities that are going to happen, that are really huge coming into next year.
Okay.
And for us is to make sure that first, those sports fans know that these activities are going to happen in good time for them to book their travel plans and really go around, sort of detour away from the sporting experience and then come back. If they are runners, then they go and run as professionals. Or if they are leisure runners, for which majority are, they just want to run and participate in it. There's something about doing things in group that is amazing, that is fulfilling. And you're not going to conquer and finish the crossing line as #1, but you're going to be #1 for yourself. So most of these runners look at their best time this year. Have they improved or are they not? So that is a real connection with sports. But they have come to Kenya, they have run, and then they will be going to other places around it. But planning needs to start very early. We provide information on opportunities that they love. If they love culture, we direct them to where culture is strong. If they love wildlife, of course, that one, there's many options. But there are those who are looking for things that may not be for everybody. So that's where digital comes in. And in our conversation of Hidden Gem, there are products that are fully developed, but they are not on the limelight. But through the power of the internet, through power of technology, they're able to get them. So yes, sports really gives opportunity to regions and places to grow in terms of tourism, especially if there is a repetitive calendar, not once in a year, but twice or thrice. So we've seen sports facilities come up, maybe for athletics, like stadiums, for swimming, tennis, hockey, rugby, for which Kenya is really strong at, and we are sending a team to the Olympic. So all these bring not only local population within Nairobi, if it's Nairobi, but also other cities within Kenya. But most important is even regional. We see a huge movement from East Africa. Sorry.
Yes, and I wanted to just mention, I've seen, for example, some of the counties also leveraging on sports. Like, for example, just an example, Kilifi, the golf tournaments that they keep hosting. So that sort of is quite attractive to people who, golf enthusiasts who feel like this is the perfect place to go. And once they're there, you can imagine the tourism earnings that they bring to that county.
Yes. So in terms of sporting, yes, perfectly put. There are those who will come and play. There are those who will be spectators.
Correct.
There are those who are not even going to appear in the field, but they will have parties around the event. Naivasha, Kilifi for Magical Kenya Open is an example. Naivasha World Safari Rally is an example. So
exactly.
Yes. And what does it do for the country? You spur the economy there. You touch the life of people in that local area. Businesses are thriving for the 4 or 5 days around the event. But another thing that is hidden, maybe from the Kenyan, is in the power of the marketing around it. A live coverage to over 190 countries, for example, and for about maybe 1,000 hours. For those who are enthusiasts who will just want to watch who started, who has gone to the next stage, who is now on the finalist, and who won, and the celebration around it. So that type of coverage really is beneficial for Kenya.
Have you felt it, for example, in the WRC? Has that sort of helped in terms of the even influence that we have outside, and how that would be attractive to international tourists as well? Because WRC is quite influential here in Kenya, and you see Kenyans really heading to Naivasha and all these places to be able to witness this field experience. Is it attractive to other people outside Kenya, in the region perhaps?
Oh yes. If you look at the last WRC in Naivasha, you'll find that we did interview a Zimbabwean, a Ugandan, a Tanzanian, I think there was an Australian. So people from Africa are really finding a reason to get out of their country, to come to Kenya, to come for the event, and also to go on a tour or safari. Some of them come to the city of Nairobi and spend days even creating content and just being wowed at the level of infrastructure that we have. So many people come for different things that speak to them. But at the end of the day, there's that one pool that they got, the magnet that was WRC. And this speaks to the power of sports in terms of destination marketing. It puts Kenya right in from the athlete themselves, from the event if it is held in Kenya. If it is the Kenya athlete outside, it's the New York Marathon, London Marathon. If a Kenyan is a winner, which we always expect, that is invaluable airtime and visibility that we have. So our athletes, yes, we encourage you, we support you, continuing doing that, because what you're doing for this nation is very patriotic. We may never repay you, but yes, we love you. We love them because the power of marketing and the power of brand power they have is huge.
Correct.
Yes.
All right. And I know that we're also gearing to host the 3rd East Africa Regional Tourism Expo, which is happening this month, by the way. That's in the next, 5 days?
Yes.
20th to the 22nd?
Yes. And thank you so much for that. Nairobi will be, actually, the Kenyatta International Conference Center in Nairobi, Kenya. The best city to visit in the world.
And by the way, yes, that ranking,
yes.
So it's best in travel 2024.
Exactly.
Right. So
yes.
we're actually looking ahead. So 2024, Nairobi is already ranked as
yes.
one of the best cities to come to
yes.
Kenya.
If there's no other reason, come and discover why Nairobi is the best city. But now, the East Africa Regional Tourism Expo is an initiative of East Africa community to position the region as a powerful brand internationally. And it was seen fit that the 7 member states of Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, South Sudan, and others do come together, and all the players really present their best foot, put their best foot forward through events, and it was called the East Africa Regional Tourism Expo. So it's expo for hoteliers, camps, airline, tour operators, and across the board. The event is going to happen from 20th, 21st, and 22nd of November, which is next week. And we are really welcoming all the partner state members to come here. We have 256 exhibitors from across the region participating. We have 10 tourism boards, actually, who will be there to showcase the best of their country. And they will be accompanied by private sector who are coming to showcase some of the things that really speak strongly about that country itself. So already we have confirmations from Rwanda, Uganda, Burundi, DRC Congo, Seychelles, Republic of South Sudan, Malawi, Tanzania, and of course we are the hosts as Kenya. We have 31 countries represented at the event. It speaks to the international nature of the event. So the East Africa Regional Tourism Expo now will position the region as a powerful brand. And we show the best of what each country has to have, has in one setting. We've combined it with the 13th Magical Kenya Travel Expo. This is a leading Pan-African travel expo that we've grown over time, the last 12 years. This will be the 13th. And the power of MKT is that it is really structured for business to business conversations where you acquire leads, you explain your product, and you're explaining to somebody who is called a hosted buyer. A hosted buyer is a travel agent of sort, or a tour operator not residing in Kenya, but residing in our key source markets, for which we desire more tourists, especially new tourists. So they will come and have meetings that they partner with whoever they wish to, because there's a matchmaking tool. They see who is exhibiting, and as a hosted buyer, they have their interest, based on their interests and the type of the clientele they serve, there are those companies they would like to meet and discuss. So there's a certain number of meetings they will have, each of them is required to have, and they usually fulfill that. The hosted buyer will pick from the exhibitors and schedule appointments. So during the event, 20th, 21st, and 22nd, is a lot of appointments meeting, B2B discussion, business to business discussion, them discussing prices, experiences, new destinations. Now it will not be in Kenya only, it will be within the region.
So sort of an intra-regional cooperation of some sort for the tourism sector across now all these countries that are going to be participating.
And the hosted buyers from Kenya, are from East Africa, and also our key source markets in Africa, as well as Europe, Asia, and Americas. But the most important thing about this event, it has a tone of brotherhood within the region. It is these countries coming together and moving along together, making Africa powerful. The conversation is Africa usually attracts about 3 to 5% of international travel. Yet we are a huge continent.
3 to 5%? Only?
Only. And that is something now the East Africa community, that is the wisdom that is there. That as a region, we are more powerful than one country. That as a country, we should not compete for one traveler, but we should grow the cake. So East Africa community, what is happening at East Africa Regional Tourism Expo is really showcasing East Africa countries as a brand. What is unique, so that you play to your strength, to these source market and travelers out. When they look in, they'll find a reason to come, whether to Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, among others. And when they come, then now each country will play to its strength in terms of attracting, not within only one country, but the regional travel.
Like I would say, look, I'm traveling to China, you know, you know, it's a whole continent. I mean, you can't just say, look, I'm going to, you know, one place. So there are many different things happening. So you can choose there, but they're already branded as, you know, as one tourist destination. Southeast Asia, you know, so it's just how you want to sort of brand this particular product, which is not just Kenya itself, but leveraging on the other countries to come together to showcase that this is what we have. So you can come into East Africa and choose wherever you want to go and sort of like enjoy the, you know, the experience.
Exactly, yes. So a consumer is more involved and engaged when they have a wider options of things that speak to them. Of course, we have similarity on quite a number of things in terms of tourism product and attractions. Yeah. But when you have an option, then you spend more time in it. You learn more of the countries, and the idea is to really pull you in. And once you start in that path, you are led on the path to conversion. Number two is not only the international part, but really promoting intra-Africa travel, and where best to start from home. So the conversation is Tembea Nyumbani. This is a regional area and you can travel across. There are facilities, you don't need, there are really almost no travel restrictions or travel barriers. So we can be able to increase tourism within the region by each country having opportunities for other residents to cross over and position themselves as the best destination. So, and I think Kenya and Nairobi has really done a lot. Lonely Planet has just put that stamp. So we are inviting all the residents within the East Africa Community region and to visit Kenya, not only on the business side, but also as a travel destination.
All right. Yes, and you know, we're heading towards the festive season now. Certainly, many locals who would be trying to travel, you know, domestically, what do we look for? You know, what will we be looking ahead at, and you know, as the peak period really comes? What should Kenyans expect? You know, in terms of experience, what do we have available for travelers, and even those who, you know, are coming from outside the country?
First, for the Kenyans, we're already happy with the culture that we're seeing. There is really vibrancy in terms of domestic travel. The only challenge is the diversification of places and regions to visit, to experience. So you'll find that there are some popular areas right now that are almost fully booked, or space for hotels are taken, space for airlines or the SGR, if it's to the coast, are almost fully taken up. Yes, it's a good opportunity to go and rest, to immerse yourself in things that you love and want to venture out in. For example, if it's a family, they want to have a break. If a place is not available, there are other similar opportunities that you could be able to look for. And there are suggestions online. There are offers now being given by places that are less busier in December, sort of saying, come, we exist and we are here and we offer excellent service. So we are going, as Kenya Tourism Board, we are going to redirect traffic and highlight new areas to visit. Mombasa will continue to be quite strong because of, over the years, it's been, let me call it the beach actually. Our beach continued to be more popular during December holidays. But there are other places that if you are not able to get the accommodation or the flight or travel opportunities, then you can reroute. There are places like Mount Kenya, there are places in the Rift Valley, there are places really in Western Kenya, and other city or urban areas opportunities that have come up, have great facilities. For myself, I have children who are looking really opportunity for swimming and to go and collect seashells and just to play in the water in the sea. But we have to plan early to go there. Right. Kenyans are known not to plan really early. We are quite last minute. Right. So if I am in such a situation, I will look out. And I was discussing with my wife, what are the other options? Suppose we don't book it in good time, or we find the places that we really wanted have been taken up, or one part element is not available for us to connect through, whether it is the accommodation or the transportation bit that is not working. So there are places that we are now starting to look at that are quite nice and that fulfill the needs mostly of the children.
Right.
There are corporates who are having parties and bonding opportunities towards the end of the year or celebrations. So they can look for the less popular areas in terms of demand, but it doesn't mean that they are of low quality. So those are areas where I will be able to encourage Kenyans at large to go and look for and visit, make inquiries, either online or through travel agents, because they exist. There is a campaign that we ran recently. It's called You Deserve a Holiday. We have quite a raft of companies who are experienced in the domestic market, and they have opportunities and options to showcase that are quite diverse away from what the destinations that be popular. These ones will put online and be able to suggest offers that they do have, and somebody can link them, a traveler, to a destination and the experience in this festive season. So for tourism businesses, yes, it's going to be it is an exciting time to receive a lot of demand. Let's nurture these tourists that have come to visit as our patrons, give them the very best experiences. Whether it is an excursion, which is just a short experience for half a day or a day, or if it's an overnight travel where now they qualify as a tourist and they have gone away from the places they do visit, we are asking them discover what is in the next county. Don't remain in your own county. Move to the next county. Discover what is there. Take your family. Take if it's a business or an office, take your staff and teams outside to just venture out, for them to go and bond, to be free away from work for 1 or 2 days and then come back. They will be more re-energized. Next year, really, we are going to do much more as that company now, with a team that is strong, bonded, relaxed, and we are showing value to them. So there are many travel opportunities. Even for those who are not going to go out of, for example, the city, we have quite a number of attractions. Some of them are signature experience. They can go to a tea farm, either as a family, organized by themselves or individuals or corporate or through our travel agents. Or I'm told there are women groups that are powerful, they have saved enough money, and they come and agree on where to travel, and they inspire each other. And there are platforms for that suggest to you places based on your desires or needs. So those ones are really powerful. If it's within Nairobi and you want adventure, Kiraita Forest is there. If you are looking somewhere not very far away, Sagana or Chaka place is quite a good opportunity to go and come back, or even spend a night. If you are looking for a city experience away from Nairobi, and probably Mombasa is full for you, we have Nakuru, we have Kisumu, which is calling, and these are places that we have good accommodation facilities, we have good connectivity in terms of airline. The road networks have really been improved and they are good service. And for those who are really adventurous, really want to get out, nothing stops them from discovering the far northern Kenya and just going on a drive, not knowing where you actually are going to sleep. So you are a true free spirit adventurer, and you will go and experience Kenya like no one else, because on the go you are going to use your phone, discover places, if you are alone or with a family, or even a convoy of vehicles inspiring each other, or bike riding for 2 days, just going having an adventure.
So you can be a tourist in your own city.
Exactly.
A tourist doesn't mean that you have to go outside the country or in a far away place. So it means that if I live in Nairobi, I can actually be a tourist in Nairobi, because there are many places I have not gone to.
Yes.
Well, actually would be very interesting to me, and I think, so for example, I don't know if it's opened fully to the public, but I know there were questions of Uhuru Gardens and if people could go there and just enjoy the scene, the history behind it and all those things. Of course, Kenyans also anticipating heavily to just go to Uhuru Park as well, which is being renovated. So suddenly there are many areas within where you are, you can be able to just go and enjoy and be a tourist.
Exactly.
Right.
There are so many areas, and some of them exist, and even as Nairobians, there are places you and I have not visited.
Right.
Yet when you receive a visitor at home and they want to maybe go somewhere, those are the quick suggestions that you're going to make. So those within your own area, there are quite a lot to discover.
Yeah.
Within the next county, a lot more to discover. But it depends on the level of budget, the level of planning required. Yeah. So mine, I'll say, based on the budget and level of planning required, go to what really suits you. It could be close, it could be far off, or it could be a well-done experience with the input of travel agents who really take up all the hassle and give you that top-notch experience based on curation and the needs you have and the people you are traveling with.
All right.
There are those who would like to travel as individuals, as groups. So let them come together. There are forums to inspire. There are tools that can tell them if this accommodation is what star rating. They can be able to check and really plan by themselves. Nothing stops them actually from working with a professional travel agent. That one is, we do endorse that, and but we are now in a generation of a new traveler. They can choose.
You call them the modern traveler.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, looking for new experiences that impact on them and impact on the life of the community. Yes. So in terms of tourism, I believe we're in a good space. We'll continue to grow. And the future is bright.
The future is bright.
Yes.
That's what we hope. We hope to see that.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. As we'll also look forward to, of course, the 3rd East Africa Regional Tourism Expo, which will be happening between the 20th and the 22nd of November. This is at the KICC here in Nairobi. Of course, you'll be, if you're interested in this, you can certainly have a look at that and anticipate perhaps what Bwana Chirchir has mentioned here this morning. But thank you so much, John Chirchir, the acting CEO of Kenya Tourism Board. Of course, just taking a pulse check of the tourism sector here in the country, how we're faring. He says we're on the right trajectory. Well, this is where we wrap it up on Your World this morning. Thank you for watching. My name is Zainab Ismail. Good morning and good day.